Praise to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And peace to everyone that's here today. Peace to everyone that's watching us live on the internet and also listening in on the phone lines. And as always, it's good to stand before you on the Lord's Sabbath day. And most importantly, get some understanding out of his book. Today we're going to deal with just a simple title called Uncleanness. Nothing hard about it. It's pretty basic. There's another side to uncleanness, the physical part. There's also the spiritual part of being unclean, which a lot of people don't understand. Because you can keep the Sabbath day, keep all the high days. You can be here today, and your mind is just messed up. You are unclean. Because we can't get past the physical part of being unclean because the world is messed up. And we're going to read that, so you can't get past that. You can just pray to the Lord that he have mercy on you, put yourself under his blood, and take it from there. But one thing you don't want to be is unclean up here, because this will defile you to the point to where you will go to the lake of fire. So let's read it. Isaiah 24. We're going to pick it up in Isaiah 24. Isaiah 24. Isaiah 24. We're going to read one verse. And this is the state of the union right now. Matter of fact, this is the state of the world. Mm-hmm. Isaiah 24, verse 5. Read it.
The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant.
So the earth is defiled, all the inhabitants thereof. Why? Because they have broken the laws, transgressed and broken the everlasting covenant, changed the ordinances. Everything that the Lord said to do, the world is not doing. It's totally opposite. That's why the earth is defiled. The Lord said man and woman is the union of marriage. The world says 2 men and 2 women. That still amazes me. How people can just go along with this. But they've changed the ordinance. The ordinance of marriage is a man and a woman.
Preach.
But they've changed that order. That's why the earth is defiled. Nobody is keeping the Sabbath day. They're giving you Sunday. And the Sabbath is the core foundation of the truth. But they've changed that. They've given you Sunday instead of the Lord's Sabbath. So the earth is defiled. So if the earth is defiled, then the inhabitants are defiled as well. And this is a physical thing as well as spiritual. But because we have dietary, the Lord give you a dietary law. If you touch this, you're unclean, this and that. That goes into the physical aspect. That's things we cannot control when it comes to the world. Because the world is not keeping the dietary law. So if anybody comes in contact with somebody that's not keeping the dietary law, that defiles you. So there's nothing you can do about that unless you just lock yourself in a box. But we know we can't do that because we got to go to work. We have to deal with people that are unclean. Mm-hmm. So let's look at Matthew 15. Matthew chapter 15. So we're going to flip-flop back and forth to spiritual and physical uncleanness, but most of it is going to be physical. Matthew 15, and read verse 18 and 19. Matthew 15. And this is the chapter that people try to go to kill a dietary law, but it has nothing to do with that. It's about eating with dirty hands. And eating with dirty hands ain't good. It won't mess you up. Your food may taste nasty. It's good hygiene to wash your hands before you eat, but it ain't going to mess you up. Physically, it will not mess you up. Matthew 15, verse 18, read it.
But those things which proceed out of the mouth come forth from the heart, and they defile the man.
So those things that come forth from the mind, you have to think before you, well, some people don't think before they speak, but most of the time you have to think before you say something. And if you have evil thoughts, then whatever's going to come out of your mouth is going to be foolishness. So it says, but those things which proceed out of the mouth come forth from the mind. And those are they that defile a man. Verse 19, go ahead.
For out of the heart proceed evil thoughts, murders, adulteries, fornications, thefts, false witness, blasphemies.
So out of the heart, which is the mind, proceed what? Evil thoughts. Evil thoughts. So murderers, adultery. You have to plan adultery out. You have to. You go to great gains to do this sin. You just don't go in the store and pick up something and walk out thinking it's that easy. You have to plan it out so you don't get caught. So you have to think before you do any kind of action. Out of the heart proceed evil thoughts, murderers, adulteries, fornications, thefts, false witnesses. You have to think to lie on somebody. Mm-hmm. You have to think about it first. And blasphemies. Pick it up. Let's go to Leviticus 5. I'm sorry. Exodus 34. So we see everything comes from the mind. You can have an unclean mind sitting right up in here, defiling the Sabbath day. You're supposed to, the Sabbath day started last night, Friday evening. You should have been in this book washing out all that foolishness from the last 6 days.
Preach.
And check all foolishness at the gate before you come up in here. We don't need it. This is the Lord's holy day.
Preach.
We're supposed to be on one accord of the same mindset, trying to get some understanding. But you can defile the Sabbath just by having an unclean mind. Exodus 34, verse 14. Go ahead.
For thou shalt worship no other God, for the Lord, whose name is jealous.
Did I say 34?
34.
That's
14.
what I said?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. That ain't the one I want. I want 31. 31. That's a typo. Is that a typo on the lesson too?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it is. Make a correction. 31. Exodus 31 and 14. That's the one I want. Go ahead.
Ye shall keep the Sabbath, therefore, for it is holy unto you. Everyone that defileth it shall surely be put to death.
So everyone that defileth the Sabbath shall surely be put to death. Go ahead.
For whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people.
So if you're working on the Sabbath, you are defiling it. If you are buying and selling on the Sabbath, you are defiling the Sabbath.
Make it simple and plain.
You cannot come here, get a lesson, and go out and buy something like we used to do on Sunday.
Preach, brother.
You can't do that here because the Sabbath is still in effect. And if the world was keeping the Sabbath, wouldn't nothing be open for you to go buy you something to eat? So there's more than one way to defile the Sabbath other than working and buying and selling, kindling fire. We know those are the physical aspects that you can do to defile the Sabbath. But what about thinking crazy? On the Sabbath. Arguing with your spouse on the Sabbath. That's crazy. You are unclean. You're supposed to have the mindset of staying focused on the Lord. Let's go to Leviticus 5. What is that? Okay, y'all, turn the cell phones down, please. Leviticus 5. That's somebody's phone. Whose phone is that? Oh. Leviticus 5. And pick it up at verse 2. 5 and 2. Read it.
Or, if a soul touch any unclean thing, whether it be a carcass of an unclean beast or a carcass of an unclean cattle, or the carcass of unclean creeping things, and it be hidden from him, he also shall be unclean and guilty.
Go ahead.
Or, if he touch the uncleanliness of a man, whatsoever uncleanliness it be that a man shall be defiled withal, and it be hid from him, when he knoweth of it, then he shall be guilty.
So if you touch the carcass of an unclean animal, that you are defiled. That makes you unclean. If you touch a man who's sick, that makes you unclean. Any kind of running issue, we're going to read, it's unclean. That's the physical aspect, okay? You're unclean. You got a runny nose, you're unclean. But will it get you sent to the lake of fire? No, you're just unclean.
Preach.
Get you some tissue, blow your nose, whatever you got to do. Let's go to Leviticus 11. And I like this chapter. This is a good one. This is the one people don't like to. They really want to throw this one away. But it's clear, it's cut and dry. Leviticus 11 and verse 1, read it. We ain't going to read all of it. Just a little bit here and there to get the point across when it comes to uncleanness. Leviticus 11 and verse 1, read it.
And the Lord spake unto Moses and to Aaron, saying unto them, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, These are the beasts which ye shall eat among all the beasts that are on the earth.
So now we got to make a point here that this is the Lord speaking to Moses and Aaron. This is his guidelines when it comes to food, when it comes to eating. These are the Lord's guidelines. We got other lessons to show you that this is Jesus right here talking. Keep reading.
3. Whatsoever parteth the hoof, and is cloven-footed, and cheweth the cud among the beasts, that shall ye eat. Nevertheless, these shall ye not eat of them that chew the cud, or of them that divide the hoof, as the camel. Because he cheweth the cud, but divided not the hoof, he is unclean unto you.
So we see there's animals that are unclean, but only the unclean in this instance means you just can't eat it. Okay? I just want to make that point. Because there ain't nothing wrong with a pig while it's alive. People have pet pigs, which I can never understand. But you can't eat the pig. And if the pig is dead, you can't touch it. We're going to show you that. Go ahead, keep reading.
5. And the coney, because he cheweth the cud, but divided not the hoof, he is unclean unto you. And the hare, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, he is unclean unto you. And the swine, though he divide the hoof and be cloven-footed, yet he cheweth not the cud, he is unclean to you.
So according to the Lord, which is Jesus, you can't eat the pig.
Preach.
You can't eat it. But that's what we grew up on before we got into the truth.
Yes, we did.
But now you can't eat it. But now the pig is everywhere. I was at the county fair, I told you the other time, they got a pickle wrapped in a pig. A pickle wrapped pig. As much as I love pickles, I don't like pickles no more now. I'm only joking. But keep reading.
8. Of their flesh ye shall not eat, and their carcass shall you not touch, they are unclean to you.
So the flesh, don't eat it, and don't even touch the carcass. But we know since the world is not keeping this, go to your grocery store and look at the meats they got laid out. That same butcher that's cut that pig up, he's the same one that cut up that beef. And what are you supposed to do?
Don't eat no pork. That's it.
You know? Keep reading.
These shall ye eat of all that are in the waters, whatsoever hath fins and scales in the waters, in the seas and in the rivers, them shall ye eat.
So the same thing in the waters. The Lord has specific animals that you can eat. It's got to have fins and scales in order for you to eat it. Otherwise, you are defiling yourself. You will be unclean. You are defiled if you eat these things that are in the water that don't have fins and scales. It has to have both of them in order for you to eat it. But what have we been raised on? Things that we are told we couldn't eat. We've been eating them for the longest before we came into the truth. Shrimp, catfish, lobster, if you had enough money to afford jumbo shrimp and lobster and all that good stuff, which is bad, it ain't good. Not to say it don't taste good now. We just can't eat it. Keep reading.
And all that have not fins and scales in the seas and in the rivers, of all that move in the waters, of any living thing which is in the waters, they shall be an abomination unto you. They shall be even an abomination unto you. You shall not eat of their flesh, but you shall have it in their carcass an abomination. Whatsoever hath no fins nor scales in the waters, that shall be an abomination unto you.
So it's an abomination. If it's an abomination to us, the Lord said it's an abomination. Don't eat it. It's got to have fins and scales. I don't know how many times we have to keep repeating this, but this is what the Lord said, because the world is going backwards. The earth is defiled because they're not keeping the laws. And this is a basic law to keep. Mm-hmm. But they don't even want to keep that. So that messes up everybody that's trying to do this thing the right way. Skip down to verse 23 and read it.
But all other flying, creeping things which have 4 feet shall be an abomination unto you. And for these shall ye be unclean. Whatsoever toucheth the carcass of them shall be unclean until the even.
So you touch the carcass of an unclean animal, you are unclean until the evening. Okay? Keep reading.
And whosoever beareth aught of the carcass of them shall wash his clothes and be unclean until the even.
So you got to wash your clothes if you carrying it with you. You got to wash your clothes. You're going to be unclean until the evening, which is the following day. And we're going to show you that's when the sun goes down. Keep reading.
26. The carcasses of every beast which divideth the hoof, and is not cloven-footed, nor cheweth the cud, are unclean unto you. Everyone that toucheth them shall be unclean. And whatsoever goeth upon his paws among all manner of beasts that go on all fours, those are unclean unto you. Whoso toucheth their carcass shall be unclean until the even.
So ain't nothing wrong with the raccoon and the possum while they living. But once they dead, you can't touch them. And you definitely can't eat them. But a carcass is nothing but a dead animal. You cannot touch it. Otherwise, you will be unclean. Go ahead.
And he that beareth the carcass of them shall wash his clothes and be unclean until the even. They are unclean unto you.
Go ahead.
These also shall be unclean unto you among the creeping things that creep upon the earth, the weasel, and the mouse, and the tortoise after his kind, and the ferret, and the chameleon, and the lizard, and the snail, and the mole. These are unclean to you among all that creep. Whosoever doth touch them when they be dead shall be unclean until the even.
So ain't nothing wrong with the lizard. People got pet lizards, moles, turtles. I even got a turtle, you know. But you can't eat it, and you definitely, when it's dead, you can't touch it. That's what the Lord is telling you. You will be unclean. And that's cut and dry. You unclean. You got to wash your clothes. You might as well just take a tub with you while you out in this world. Because as soon as you step out that door, you better jump in that bath and clean yourself or just walk around with a tub. Have somebody pull you. Because you're going to be constantly washing yourself. Keep reading.
And upon whatsoever any of them, when they are dead, doth fall, it shall be unclean, whether it be any vessel of wood or raiment or skin or sack. Whatsoever vessel it shall be, wherein any work is done, it must be put into water, and shall be unclean until the even, so it shall be cleansed.
Go ahead.
And every earthen vessel, whereinto any of them falleth, whatsoever is in it shall be unclean, and ye shall break it. Of all meat which may be eaten, of that which such water cometh shall be unclean, and all drink that may be drunk in every such vessel shall be unclean.
So even the unclean stuff that touches your utensils becomes unclean. And look what happens when you cook on your stove with something unclean. Keep reading.
And everything whereupon any part of their carcass falleth shall be unclean, whether it be oven or ranges for pots. They shall be broken down, for they are unclean, and shall be unclean unto you.
So you got to break the pots down. Get rid of them. They got to go. That barbecue grill that you used to do swine on, ain't enough bleach in the world going to get it clean. It's got to go. Get you a new one. We finished that?
39.
39, read it.
And if any beast of which ye may eat die, he that toucheth the carcass thereof shall be unclean unto the even.
So if any beast that you can eat, and it dies for some odd reason, if you touch that beast, you are unclean until the evening. Because maybe something went wrong with it, you know? Maybe something happened. It's not a free meal. Something happened, something was wrong with it. Maybe it had mad cow or something. Or bird flu. Don't mess with it. Bird flu scared me because, you know, much as I love chicken, I thought it was going to get them chickens, but praise the Lord, it didn't. They got to come up with something else for them chickens. But go ahead. Where we at?
40.
40, read it.
And he that eateth of the carcass of it shall wash his clothes and be unclean until the even. He also that beareth the carcass of it shall wash his clothes and be unclean until the even.
So if you just happen to eat it, you unclean until the evening. You got to wash your clothes if you happen to pick it up and don't know that it died on its own. You unclean. So the Lord is real specific. Okay? You're always constantly washing yourself, especially if your mind is unclean. What you going to wash that with? You got to wash it with this word. We finished that?
43.
43, read it.
Ye shall not make yourselves abominable with any creeping thing that creepeth, neither shall ye make yourselves unclean with them, that you should be defiled thereby. For I am the Lord your God. Ye shall therefore sanctify yourselves, and ye shall be holy, for I am holy. Neither shall you defile yourselves with any manner of creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth.
So for I am the Lord your God, you shall therefore separate. That's what sanctify means. Separate yourself and be ye holy, for I am holy. We're supposed to try to be holy just like our God. And he set the guidelines and the rules for us on how to be holy. And all you got to do is do it. Keep them. Keep the dietary law. It's not that hard. In the beginning, it might have been, but when you realize what's waiting on you at the end of the line, you will put that pork chop down quickly. Give up the shrimp, catfish, all that abominable stuff. Let's go to Ezekiel 4, because the Lord knew. One more?
Yeah.
We'll keep reading, man.
For I am the Lord that bringeth you up out of the land of Egypt to be your God. You shall therefore be holy, for I am holy.
That's right. Now let's go to Ezekiel 4. Ezekiel chapter 4, to show you the Lord knew the state that his people was going to be in. And he knew it wasn't going to be nothing we could do about it. But you do the best that you can. People that like to go out to restaurants, look on the menu. Everything is on there that's unclean. Everything is on there that's clean. And the same people that's back there are cooking both things. What do? You can't lock yourself in a box. You want to eat, eat. Eat the clean stuff.
Right.
But don't go to somebody that's advertising unclean to get you something clean. Stay out of Joe's Crab Shack.
Make it plain, brother, please.
Red Lobster, all that stuff advertising unclean. Even though they do have clean stuff in there, stay out of them places.
For your sake.
Let's go to Ezekiel 4, verse 13. Read it.
And the Lord said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their bread defiled among the Gentiles, whether I will drive them.
So even the clean stuff that we eating, it's defiled. And it ain't nothing we can do about it. It is defiled. Let's go to Leviticus 7. Leviticus chapter 7. You might as well keep a mark in Leviticus for a little while, because we're going to be in and out of it. Leviticus 7. We're going to read a couple of verses here. Leviticus 7. And this is dealing with the priests. Even their mindset had to be right before they even partook of the sacrifices. Leviticus 7 and verse 20. Okay, read it.
But the soul that eateth of the flesh of the sacrifice of the peace offerings that pertain unto the Lord, having his uncleanliness upon him, even that soul shall be cut off from his people.
So now this is not no physical uncleanness right here. This is up in his mind. If his mind ain't right, he cannot partake of the sacrifice. Read verse 21 and let's tell you. Go ahead.
Moreover, the soul that shall touch any unclean thing, as the uncleanliness of a man, or any unclean beast, or any abominable unclean thing, and eat the flesh of the sacrifice of peace offerings, which pertain unto the Lord, even that soul shall be cut off from his people.
So you see how the Lord is dealing with his priests. We can see he can't touch anything. He cannot be unclean if he's partaking of that sacrifice, whether he's touch something physical or his mind is messed up.
Right.
The priest has got to be on point at all times. He couldn't even show no emotion when his family members died. So you better the Lord is telling him, look, your mind better be right if you're eating the sacrifice. That's why when Aaron's two sons got killed and Moses, he looked at, man, y'all let the stuff burn up. But what did Aaron tell him? Look, my mind ain't right. How can I eat this sacrifice? My sons just got killed.
By God.
How can I eat this and be in my right mind? So you got to be right up here. You can have an unclean mind. You can be, like I said, you can keep all the high days you want, all the Sabbath days you want. You can sit right up in here and your mind is defiled. The first demon the Lord threw out of the church cast out was where? Right in the church. So don't tell me you can play Sabbath all you want. The Lord know what you're thinking.
Make it plain.
Let's go to Leviticus 13. Leviticus 13. So uncleanness goes both ways. You can be dirty physically and dirty mentally. But the physical part, what the Lord said, just get you some soap and water and clean yourself up. But this part, this takes a whole lot of work. Leviticus 13 and verse 1, read it.
And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, saying, When a man shall have in the skin of his flesh arising a scab or a bright spot, and it shall be in the skin of his flesh like the plague of leprosy, then he shall be brought unto Aaron the priest, or unto one of his sons the priest. And the priest shall look on the plague in his skin of a flesh, and when the hair in the plague is turned white, and the plague in the sight be deeper than the skin of his flesh, it is a plague of leprosy. And the priest shall look on him and pronounce him unclean.
So this is leprosy now. This is, your flesh just go crazy. Go ahead.
4. If the bright spot be white in the skin of his flesh, and in sight be not deeper than the skin, and the hair thereof be not turned white, then the priest shall shut up him that have the plague 7 days. And the priest shall look on him the 7th day, and behold, if the plague in his sight be at a stay, and the plague spread not in the skin, then the priest shall shut him up 7 days more. And the priest shall look on him again the 7th day, and behold, if the plague be somewhat dark, and the plague spread not in the skin, the priest shall pronounce him clean. It is but a scab, and he shall wash his clothes and be clean. But if the scab spread much abroad in the skin, after that he have been seen of the priest for his cleansing, he shall be seen of the priest again. And if the priest see that, behold, the scab spreadeth in the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is leprosy.
Go ahead.
When the plague of leprosy is in a man, then he shall be brought unto the priest, and the priest shall see him. And behold, if the rising be white in the skin, and it have turned the hair white, and there be no quick raw flesh in the rising, it is an old leprosy in the skin of his flesh, and the priest shall pronounce him unclean, and shall not shut him up, for he is unclean. And if a leprosy break out abroad in the skin, and the leprosy cover all the skin of him that have the plague from his head even to his foot, wheresoever the priest looketh, then the priest shall consider, and behold, if the leprosy have covered all his flesh, he shall pronounce him clean that have the plague. It is all turned white. He is clean.
So we see we got two types of leprosy here. We got clean leprosy where you just turn white. And then you got the unclean leprosy where it's all in your flesh. You got scabs, it's spreading all over the place. And it get to a point to where if you got it real bad, you had to cover your face. And just your eyes show up, just your eyes, and you got to holler unclean, unclean, unclean. So people can stay away from you because you got the plague. In other words, stay away from me. But nowadays, people don't care. They spread germs like wildfire. But let's keep reading. Go ahead.
14. But when raw flesh appeareth in him, he shall be unclean. And the priest shall see the raw flesh, and pronounce him to be unclean, for the raw flesh is unclean, it is a leprosy. Or, if the raw flesh turn again and be changed unto white, he shall come unto the priest, and the priest shall see him, and behold, if the plague be turned white, then the priest shall pronounce him clean that have the plague, he is clean.
So nowadays we go to the doctor. Can't see the priest because the priesthood is gone. So now you go to the doctor, he give you a shot, get you some medicine, some pills, or whatever it is to heal yourself. Let's go to skip down to verse 29 and read it. Go ahead.
If a man or woman have a plague upon the head or the beard, then the priest shall see the plague, and behold, if it be in sight deeper than the skin, and there be in it yellow thin hair, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a dry scall, even a leprosy upon the head or beard. And if the priest look on the plague of the skull, and behold, it be not in sight deeper than the skin, and that there is no black hair in it, then the priest shall shut him up that hath the plague of a skull 7 days. And in the 7th day the priest shall look on the plague, and behold, if the skull spread not, and there be in it no yellow hair, and the skull be not in sight deeper than the skin, he shall be shaven, but the skull shall he not shave, and the priest shall shut him up that have the skull 7 days more. And in the 7th day the priest shall look on the skull, and behold, if the skull be not spread in the skin, nor be in sight deeper than the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him clean, and he shall wash his clothes, and shall be clean. But if the skull spread much in the skin after his cleansing, then the priest shall look on him, and behold, if the skull be spread in the skin, the priest shall not seek for yellow hair, he is unclean.
Okay, that's enough. Skip down to 38. I didn't want that in there, but that's good though. This is what I want, 38. Go ahead.
If a man also or a woman have in the skin of their flesh bright spots, even white bright spots, then the priest shall look, and behold, if the bright spots in the skin of their flesh be darkish white, if it is a freckled spot that groweth in the skin, he is clean.
Now, that's some of the stuff I get. I get it all up here, these white spots. I even woke up and it's right here on my head. But I'm clean. It's clean leprosy, so don't worry about it. Keep reading.
40. And the man whose hair is fallen off his head, he is bald, yet he is clean.
So if your hair's falling out, you just bald-headed, you clean. Ain't nothing wrong with you, you clean. Your hair just falling out. Go ahead.
And he that hath his hair fallen off the part of his head towards his face, for he is forehead bald, yet he is clean.
So it's different types of baldness. You can lose it here, you can lose it here. You just forehead bald. This is what the book say, right? You clean. Don't worry about it. You clean. Go ahead.
And if there be in the bald head or bald forehead a white reddish sore, it is leprosy sprung up in his bald head or his bald forehead. Then the priest shall look upon it, and behold, if the rising of the sore be white reddish in his bald head or in his bald forehead, as the leprosy appeareth in the skin of the flesh, he is a leprous man. He is unclean. The priest shall pronounce him utterly unclean. His plague is in his head.
So now, if your hair falls out and it just falls out, you all right. But if it falls out and you start getting scabs and craziness, you unclean. The book say, what is he? He is utterly unclean. You got it in the head. But anyway, let's go to
15.
Leviticus 15. Let's look at this. Leviticus 15. Leviticus 15. Okay, read.
And the Lord spake unto Moses and to Aaron, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When any man hath when any man hath a running issue out of his flesh, because of his issue he is unclean.
So if a man got a running issue out of his flesh, because of that issue, you unclean. Keep reading.
And this shall be his uncleanliness in his issue, whether his flesh run with his issue, or his flesh be stopped from his issue, it is his uncleanliness. Every bed whereon he lieth that hath the issue is unclean, and everything whereupon he sitteth shall be unclean.
So as long as you got this issue, whatever bed you lie on, whatever seat you sit in, it's unclean. Keep reading.
5. And whosoever toucheth his bed shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the even.
So whoever touched the man with the issue, he got to wash his clothes and take a bath, because now he is unclean because you have touched an unclean person. Keep reading.
And he that sitteth on any on anything whereupon he sat, that hath the issue, shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the even.
So if you sit on anything he sat on, you unclean. You got to take a bath. Go ahead.
And he that toucheth the flesh of him that hath issue shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the even. And if he that hath issue spit upon him that is clean, then he shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the even.
So if the person with the issue spits on somebody that's clean, then that person becomes unclean. That's why you got to cover your nose when you sneeze. You don't want to get all that stuff on anybody else. And it's just basic, hygiene, but the Lord had it written. So you would be physically unclean. Just take a bath and you good. Go ahead.
And what saddle soever he rideth upon that have the issue shall be unclean.
So the car you riding in, it's unclean. So how do you clean up a car? Especially on the inside. Something to think about. But go ahead.
And whosoever toucheth anything that was under him shall be unclean until even. And he that beareth any of those things shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the even. And whomsoever he toucheth that have the issue and have not rinsed his hands in water, he shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the even. And the vessel of earth that he toucheth, which hath the issue, shall be broken, and every vessel of wood shall be rinsed in water. And when he that have an issue is cleansed of his issue, then he shall number to himself 7 days for his cleansing, and wash his clothes and bathe his flesh in running water, and shall be unclean.
So now after your issue is over with, now you count 7 days. You wash yourself up, take a bath, and you shall be clean. But on verse 14, what else?
And on the 8th day he shall take to him 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, and come before the Lord unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and give them unto the priest. And the priest shall offer them, the one for a sin offering, the other for a burnt offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for him before the Lord for his issue.
So now once you clean, after the 7 days, on the 8th day, you take you 2 turtle doves or 2 pigeons, give them to the priest, and he's going to offer them one for a sin offering and one for a burnt offering. So if you have not done this, you're still unclean. Because this is what the book say. Even though we have no Levitical priesthood, this is the only way you was going to be pronounced clean. This don't change. So if you have not done this, you're still unclean. But we know the world is defiled anyway. It's already defiled, so you got to do the best that you can. Just don't be unclean up here. Keep reading.
And any man's seed of copulation go out from him, then he shall wash all his flesh in water and be unclean until the even.
So the seed of copulation, we know what that is. You wash your clothes and be unclean until the evening. Go ahead.
And every garment and every skin whereupon is the seed of copulation shall be washed with water and be unclean until the even.
So every garment, all your clothes, probably mainly the drawers, you're unclean until the evening. Wash your clothes. Go ahead.
The woman also with whom man shall lie with seed of copulation, they shall both bathe themselves in water and be unclean until the even.
So even the act of procreating is unclean. You just wash yourself up when you're done. It's normal hygiene. Keep reading.
19. And if a woman have an issue, and the issue in her flesh be blood, she shall be put apart 7 days, and whosoever toucheth her shall be unclean until the even.
So we know what this is. If you're a woman, you know what this is. If a woman have an issue, and the issue in her flesh be blood, she shall be put apart 7 days, and whosoever toucheth her shall be unclean until the evening. She shall be put apart 7 days. If you're not put apart 7 days, everything in the house is unclean. This is why when Israel was a nation, they had this intact. This is what they did. They put the woman apart. But now we can't do that now. You can't do it now. So what do you do the best that you can? Not showing up here ain't doing you no good.
Make it plain.
You ain't put apart. You chose not to show. Well, I'm unclean. I'm on my issue. I ain't going to show. Is your husband here? Are your kids here? Then the whole house should stay home. And then once you step out of the house, once your issue is over with, you have to be pronounced clean. Just because you stop, well, now I'm clean. No. But keep reading. I ain't going to get into it. Go ahead.
20. And everything that she lieth upon in her separation shall be unclean. Everything also that she sitteth upon shall be unclean.
I do not have 2 beds in my house. I only got 1. Got 2 rooms, but my daughter sleep in the other one. Unclean. We only, whatever she's sitting up on, same way with the man. Everything's unclean. Go ahead.
And whosoever toucheth her bed shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the even.
So you're going to be unclean until the evening. So you're unclean till the evening, but you're still getting back in that same bed. So what you going to do? Wash up for 7 days? Yeah, but you still unclean. Because what did you do with the bed? Did you throw the bed out? You changed the sheets? Okay. But what about the bed? Keep reading.
22. And whosoever toucheth anything that she sat upon shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the even. And if it be on her bed, or anything whereupon she sitteth, when he toucheth it, he shall be unclean until the even. And any man lie with her at all, and her flowers be upon him, he shall be unclean 7 days. And all the bed whereupon he lieth shall be unclean.
So this is the world we living in now. Nobody's doing this. Nobody has no understanding. So the people we deal with are unclean. Even if you clean, you think you clean, you unclean because you're dealing with an unclean person. You can go to the supermarket, the cashier, whoever it is, the person that's bagging up your groceries. You don't know. So the whole world is defiled. And that's on the physical aspect of it. That's the thing we don't have no control over. So we do the best that we can in the situations that we're in, but not showing up here ain't doing you no good. Because if you're going to use that as an excuse, you might as well, the wind is blowing too hard. Go ahead.
25. And if a woman have an issue and her blood many days out of the time of her separation, or if it run beyond the time of her separation, all the days of her issue of her uncleanliness shall it be as the days of her separation. She shall be unclean. Every bed whereupon she lieth, all the days of her issue shall be unto her as the bed of her separation, and whatsoever she sitteth upon shall be unclean as the uncleanliness of her separation. And whosoever toucheth these things shall be unclean, and shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the even. But if she be cleansed of her issue, then she shall number to herself 7 days, and after that she shall be clean.
So now after your issue, you got to number 7 more days. So if you want to be technical, then you shouldn't be here for 2 weeks. But then that ain't doing you no good anyway. If you want to do this. But if you're going to do it, you got to do it right. Now, verse 29, read it.
And on the 8th day she shall take to her two turtles or 2 young pigeons, and bring them unto the priest to the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And the priest shall offer the one for a sin offering, and the other for a burnt offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for her before the Lord for the issue of her uncleanliness.
So now the same thing with the woman goes with the man. 2 turtle doves, 2 pigeons, take them to the priest. One offering for a sin, one offering for a burnt offering. All of a sudden you clean. If you ain't offered up the birds, you're still unclean, whether you had the issue or it stopped. You're still unclean. So you might as well just not even be here, anybody. If that being the case, this place would be empty. Keep reading.
Thus shall you separate the children of Israel from their uncleanliness, that they die not in their uncleanliness when they defile my tabernacle that is among them. This is the law of him that have an issue, and of him whose seed goeth from him, and is defiled therewith, and of her that is sick of her flowers, and of him that hath an issue of a man and of a woman, and of him that lieth with her that is unclean.
So it goes across the board. You can't defile the sanctuary if you're unclean. But if that being the case, then would nobody be here? And this ain't a sanctuary. It used to be a nightclub.
True indeed.
So, but this is when Israel was intact. They had a sanctuary. And the Lord was there. He'd come down there in that cloud. And you wouldn't go in there. If you was defiled, you would not go in there. But we are here having a gathering on the Sabbath day with some understanding. But staying away because of issues, you ain't doing yourself no good. because any other excuse will come into play as well. And if you're going to do it right. Stay away 7 days, you're gone. Stay away 7 more days. Get you 2 turtle doves and 2 pigeons. And then you can come on back in. Exactly. So, and then even at the even at the Israel of God a while back, the sisters that would be on their issue, they'd be sitting somewhere else in one section. So when you came in, you knew, oh, okay. But then as your understanding grows, you know that was just foolishness. It didn't make no sense, but they was trying. Right. They was trying. So now, staying away ain't doing you no good. But let's keep reading. Where we at?
Leviticus 12.
Leviticus 12. Go ahead. Verse 1. It's like I say, if you ain't laid up in a hospital bed, there should be no reason why you ain't here. No reason. Issue or no issue. Male or female. I don't care what it is. If you ain't in a hospital, you need to be here getting some edification. 12:1, read it.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, If a woman have conceived seed, and born a man-child, then she shall be unclean 7 days. According to the days of the separation, for her infirmity shall she be unclean.
So if a woman conceives seed and have a male, she shall be unclean 7 days. According to the days of her separation, for her infirmity she should be unclean. Okay, go ahead.
And in the 8th day, the flesh of his foreskin shall be circumcised.
So on the 8th day, you take them and you get them circumcised. Because this is what the books say. Nowadays, they do it, 2 days later? 2, 3 days later? But there's a reason why the Lord said the 8th day. And even doctors know. But because any time after the 8th day, it's coming out of, any time after, once you leave that hospital, it's coming out of your pocket. So that's why they do it quick, because you got some insurance, It ain't going to cost you. But it don't matter with us. We know. We got male child. We got some babies that's coming out here, boys. 8th day, they're getting circumcised. We got a doctor. Might be $200-300, but he'll do it. He even stopped his trip. I think the last sister that had a male child, it was right around, I think the 8th day fell right on Memorial Day, holiday for him. He stopped his trip, came back, did that circumcision. He got that money and went on back. But it's all about, things have to be done in decent and in order. So the 8th day, circumcised, go ahead, verse 4.
And she shall then continue in the blood of her purifying 33 days. She shall touch no hallowed thing, nor come into the sanctuary until the days of her purifying be fulfilled.
So if she have a male child, she stay away 40 days. 40 days.
Yeah.
40 days.
Yeah.
Female child, verse 5, go ahead.
But if she bear a maid child, then she shall be unclean 2 weeks, as in her separation, and she shall continue in the blood of her purifying 66 days.
So if she have a female, 80 days. 80 days of separation. It's good for health reasons for a child.
Right.
I understand that. That's why I ain't gonna, I don't have no problem with that. Health reasons for the baby. I wouldn't want to be around all y'all anyway as a child. But anyway, go ahead.
And when the days of her purifying are fulfilled, for a son or for a daughter, she shall bring a lamb of the first year for a burnt offering, and a young pigeon or a turtle dove for a sin offering unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation unto the priest, who shall offer it before the Lord, and make atonement for her, and she shall be cleansed from the issue of her blood. This is the law for her that have borne a male or a female. And if she be not able to bring a lamb, then she shall bring 2 turtles, or 2 young pigeons, the one for the burnt offering, the other for a sin offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for her, and she shall be clean.
So after the days of your separation, you go before the priest, you get a lamb. If you don't got no lamb, you get your 2 pigeons. And you will be pronounced clean. If you have not done this after you've had a child, you're still unclean. Because this is what the books say. Let's go to Numbers. Chapter 5. 19. And we're going to start wrapping it up. Numbers 19. This is a short lesson. Y'all know me. This is short. Might be a lot of scripts, but it's good reading. We need to read this. That's why it's in the book. Numbers 19. Pick it up at verse 11. Read it.
He that toucheth the dead body of any man shall be unclean 7 days.
Dead bodies. We all been to funerals, right?
Yep.
You touch a dead body, some people get emotional, they want to kiss it. I ain't kissing no dead body. But some people do. The book say you unclean for 7 days. Go ahead.
He shall purify himself with it on the 3rd day, and on the 7th day he shall be clean. But if he purify not himself the 3rd day, then the 7th day he shall not be clean.
So now you got to purify yourself. We're talking the waters of purification. We're going to read about that later.
Right.
So if you had not these waters of purification sprinkled upon you, you are still unclean. I've been to many funerals, walked on many grave sites. I ain't never had no waters of purification sprinkled on me. So I am still unclean. In this aspect right here. Go ahead.
Whosoever toucheth the dead body of any man that is dead and purifieth not himself defileth the tabernacle of the Lord.
So now that being said, if this was the actual tabernacle of the Lord, I would be defiling it. Just like everybody else up in here in one form or another. But we know that's not the case. Go ahead.
And that soul shall be cut off from Israel, because the water of separation was not sprinkled upon him. He shall be unclean, his uncleanliness is yet upon him. This is the law, when a man dieth in a tent. All that come into the tent, and all that is in the tent, shall be unclean 7 days. And every open vessel which hath no covering bound upon it is unclean. And whosoever toucheth one that is slain with the sword in the open fields, or a dead body, or a bone of a man, or a grave, shall be unclean 7 days.
So if you touch one that is slain with the sword, but see, Israel had people that would deal with this. Just like we have people now that deal with dead folks. Right. They unclean all the time. All the time. And what else? The bone of a man or a grave. We've all been to grave sites. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, they're getting ready to have a big old celebration coming up here. The Day of the Dead, when you go out there to them grave sites with some barbecue for dead people. Wow. Straight up satanic.
Preach.
But it's a big old celebration. So we've all been to cemeteries, grave sites. We unclean. No waters of purification sprinkled on us, you're still unclean. Because this is what the Lord said. Go to Leviticus 22. Back to Leviticus 22. So let's do things that we have control over. Because we don't have control over the defileness of this earth right now. The earth is just lost. We just have to maintain our sanity with this book. Leviticus 22 and verse 1, read it.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and to his sons, that they separate themselves from the holy things of the children of Israel, and that they profane not my holy name. In those things which they hallow unto me, I am the Lord.
So every time we've been reading, every time instances where you be unclean, you wash yourself and you unclean till the evening. Unclean till the even, till the even, till the even. We're going to find out when the even is right here. Go ahead.
Say unto them, Whosoever he be of all your seed among all your generations, that goeth into the holy things, which the children of Israel hallow unto the Lord, having his uncleanliness upon him, that soul shall be cut off from my presence. I am the Lord. Whatsoever of the seed of Aaron what man soever of the seed of Aaron is a leper, or hath a running issue, he shall not eat of the holy things until he be clean.
So you can't be a leper. If you're the seed of Aaron, you can't be a leper, or you can't have a running issue to partake of the holy things. Go ahead.
And whosoever toucheth anything that is unclean by the dead, or a man whose seed goeth from him, or whosoever toucheth any creeping thing, whereby he may be made unclean, or a man of whom he may take uncleanliness, whatsoever uncleanliness he have, that soul which hath touched any such shall be unclean until even. And he shall not eat of the holy things, unless he wash his flesh with water. And when the sun is down, he shall be clean. and shall afterward eat of the holy things, because it is his food.
So when is the even? When the sun is
goes
down.
down.
Not sunset, but sundown. That's the even. And then he's going to wash himself, then he can partake of the holy things. Let's go to Numbers 5. Numbers 5. Numbers 5, verse 1. Okay, read.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Command the children of Israel that they put out of the camp every leper.
So command the children, they put out of the camp every leper. Anybody here is a leper? No? Okay, keep reading.
And everyone that have an issue.
Anybody here got an issue? You got an issue, you got to go. That's right, we all got issues. Everybody's starting to make their way out the door right now. Pretty soon, I won't be here. Go ahead.
And whosoever is defiled by the dead.
We've all been defiled by the dead. We down to one person now. Go ahead.
Both male and female shall ye put out. Without the camp you shall put them, that they defile not their camps, in the midst whereof I dwell. And the children of Israel did so, and put them out without the camp. As the Lord spake unto Moses, so did the children of Israel.
So anybody got any problems, put them out. It's what the books say. A leper, everyone that has an issue, or if you've been defiled by the dead, both male and female, you got to go. And that's what they did. They put them out because they knew the Lord wasn't playing. Let me show you that. Go to Leviticus 26. So we know the books say have a holy convocation. With two or more gathered in my name, there I am in the midst. But if you're crazy, you got some issues, you don't need to be there. Especially if you got them up here. But that's if we're in the sanctuary. This is a place that we gather. We call it a sanctuary, but is this place holy as we think it is? Half of y'all in here crazy. On the Sabbath day. So let's be for real. Let's come here and get some edification.
Right.
Renew our minds from all the 6 days of foolishness that we've been dealing with. We don't need no problems in here. 26:2, read it.
You shall keep my Sabbaths and reverence my sanctuary. I am the Lord. If ye walk in my statutes and keep my commandments and do them.
So keep my Sabbaths, reverence my sanctuary. I am the Lord. Walk in my statutes and keep my commandments and do them. Skip down to verse 11 and read it.
I will set my tabernacle among you, and my soul shall not abhor you. And I will walk among you, and will be your God, and ye shall be my people.
So there's the Lord in the midst. If you do the statutes, keep his commandments, and do them, he will be right there amongst you, in the midst of you. Deuteronomy 23. And I'm going to show you he was there in the midst of the children of Israel. That's why they had no problems putting out everybody that was a leper, defiled by the dead, or had issues. Put them out. Deuteronomy 23 and verse 12. 23 and 12. Okay, read it.
Thou shalt have a place also without the camp, whitherso thou shalt go forth abroad. And thou shalt have a paddle upon thy weapon. And it shall be, when thou ease thyself abroad, then shalt dig therewith, and shalt turn back and cover that which cometh from thee.
So we know what this is saying, right? Just in case you don't, if you happen to be out there, you go outside the camp, take care of your business, and cover it up. Why? Go ahead.
For the Lord thy God walketh in the midst of thy camp to deliver thee, and to give up thine enemies before thee.
So the Lord don't want to step in your excrement. So we got a guy that's got a sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
We've all stepped in something before. The Lord is the same way. You're going to do it, cover it up. Go ahead.
Therefore shall thy camp be holy. that he see no unclean thing in thee, and turn away from thee.
So he don't want to see nothing. He don't want to see nothing on the ground. Dig a hole, cover it up. Because the Lord was walking in the midst of the camp. He was there. 2 Corinthians 6. 2 Corinthians 6. If anybody got issues, I don't need to know about them. That's between you and the Lord. Show up here, get some edification. Save yourself. And go home and beat your husband, I guess. I don't know. Take it out on him. 2 Corinthians 6. Verse 16, read it.
And what agreement hath the temple of God with idols? For ye are the temple of the living God. As God hath said, I will dwell in them and walk in them, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people.
Go ahead.
Wherefore, come out from among them, and be ye separate, saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you.
So we got to come out from among all this foolishness in the world, and we got to be separate. Okay? We are stuck in the physical portion of it. We ain't got no control over that. But the spiritual part, we can separate ourselves from all this murders and idolatries. And it's hard during this season, I'm telling you. It is rough. Because you're being bombarded with idolatry.
Yeah.
It's hard, but you got to stay in this book and gird your mind up. Be separate from all this foolishness. I see pumpkins everywhere. Why did I just see pumpkins around this time? Like they don't sell them the rest of the year? I mean, come on. Pumpkin is a squash, right?
Yeah.
Eat it. I bought me 3 or 4 pumpkins, made me some pumpkin seeds. Real ones. Didn't know what to do with the pumpkins, so I had to give them to the raccoons that's crawling around out there in the apartment complex. Wasted them pumpkins. Well, you know, they hate them. But I didn't know what to do with them. But I made sure they was gone so people don't think, you know, you doing that Halloween stuff, huh? Ain't nothing, no decorations on my door. I was just watching the news the other day. They were saying how Halloween decorations becoming too scary. That's what it's for. I mean, this was on the news. They becoming too scary. That's what it's all about. Man. We finished that?
18.
Read it.
And will be a father unto you, and ye shall be my sons and daughters, saith the Lord Almighty.
Okay, let's go to Ephesians 5. We're almost done. Ephesians 5. Ephesians chapter 5. So we got to come out of this foolishness, out of this spiritual uncleanness. Ephesians 5, verse 1. Read it.
Be ye therefore followers of God as dear children, and walk in love, as Christ also have loved us, and have given himself for us an offering and a sacrifice to God for a sweet-smelling savor.
So walk in love. And we know real love is keeping the commandments. That's what we need to walk in, the commandments. Go ahead.
But fornication and all uncleanliness or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as becoming saints.
So fornication and all uncleanness. Absolute is all. All uncleanness. That's the physical side and the spiritual side too. All that uncleanness got to go. Go ahead.
Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of thanks.
So even all that foolish talking and jesting, which is clowning. That's what a jester is, a clown. That's what the court jester was, right? He was the clown.
Yes, sir. So
none of that foolish talking, nor clowning, which are not convenient, but rather give thanks. Verse 5, go ahead.
For this ye know, that no whoremonger, nor unclean person, nor covetous man who is an idolater have any inheritance in the kingdom of God and of Christ.
So we know that no whoremonger, nor unclean person. And this is all uncleanness. This is beyond physical right here, because we ain't getting out of this physical stuff. He's talking up here. Nor any unclean person have any inheritance, not only in the kingdom of Christ. You ain't getting in Jesus' kingdom. You ain't gonna get in the Father's kingdom either.
Right.
Let's go to 1 Peter 4. 1 Peter chapter 4. So now, knowing the physical aspect, which we have no control over, we got to do the best that we can. Put yourself under the blood of Jesus, and he's a merciful God. He may have mercy on you. Just like when Hezekiah prayed. He said, Lord, forgive if anybody here be unclean by any reason. Forgive them. 1 Peter 4 and verse 17. Read it.
For the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of God.
So the time has come, judgment is going to begin at the house of God. The ones that's keeping the truth, that know the law. Judgment is going to start with you first. And he's going to weed you out.
Yep.
Just because you keeping the law and the dietary law, the commandments and all this other stuff, that's good. But what else are you doing?
Right.
Is your mind right? You can't be playing Sabbath and playing high day and holy day and all this stuff. The Lord already know what you're thinking. That's why judgment is going to begin first at the house of God. Go ahead.
And if it first begin at us, what then shall be the end of them that obey not the gospel
So
of God?
if it's going to start with us, what you think is going to happen to them that ain't doing nothing? Go ahead.
And if the righteous scarcely be saved.
You mean the righteous is just barely going to make it? Barely make it. That's what scarcely means. So just because you're doing this, Sabbath day, high days, feast days, all this other good stuff, you're going to barely make it. Barely. So it's got to be something up here. It's got to be here.
Right.
As I said, you can put on the facade all you want, but the Lord knows what you're thinking. It's got to be spiritual for you to barely make it. Because evil thoughts pop in your head all the time. Step out and turn the TV on. Look at it. The media is killing people.
Seriously.
So it's got to be here. If the righteous don't scarcely be saved, go ahead.
Where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear?
Where are they going to appear? In the lake of fire. Let's go to Isaiah 58. That's why the Sabbath day is so important. And the Bible going to tell you this. Check all issues at the door. Check them at sundown, Friday.
Right.
Friday evening, check them. Open the door and put them out your house. Isaiah 58. Verse 13, read it.
If thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day.
Now, this is the Lord's holy day. His Sabbath is a holy day. He has strict guidelines on how to keep it. No buying and selling.
Preach.
No kindling fire. Even them vapor cigarettes. I know it's something about them too, because that's going into your own pleasure. What else? No kindling fire. What else? Keep reading.
And call the Sabbath a delight, the holy of the Lord honorable, and shall honor him, not doing thine own ways.
So don't do your own ways on this day. Whatever you was doing the other 6 days, don't do it on the Sabbath. You can't do your own ways on this day. This is the Lord's day. If you didn't eat before you came in, we got food for you. You don't need to be leaving here going to buy something to eat.
Preach, brother.
Because that's against the Sabbath. That's defiling the Sabbath if you're doing that. So in case you don't know, now you know. And if we have to read it, we can read it. You cannot buy or sell on the Sabbath day. There's a 24-hour period that's totally dedicated to the Lord, and it started last night, Friday evening at sundown.
Make it plain.
Keep reading.
Nor finding thine own pleasure, nor speaking thine own words.
So you got to watch your conversation on the Sabbath day as well. That's where that uncleanness comes from, that spiritual uncleanness, talking foolish on the Sabbath day. What did the book say? No foolish talking, no gesturing. Do not defile the Sabbath. Keep reading.
Then shalt thou delight thyself in the Lord, and I will cause thee to ride upon the high places of the earth, and feed thee with the heritage of Jacob thy father. For the mouth of the Lord hath spoken it.
So there's great delight in keeping this Sabbath because you got a good reward at the end if you're keeping it wholeheartedly. But the Lord, he's the only one that knows that. He only knows what you're doing.
Correct.
Isaiah 35. And to show you what's going to happen during the end times, if you still got some foolish thoughts, I guarantee you won't be crossing that highway.
Huh.
Isaiah 35. Pick it up at verse 1. Isaiah 35 and verse 1. Read it.
The wilderness and the solitary place shall be glad for them, and the desert shall rejoice and blossom as the rose. It shall blossom abundantly and rejoice even with joy and singing. The glory of Lebanon shall be given unto it, the excellency of Carmel and Sharon. They shall see the glory of the Lord and the excellency of our God.
So when you talk about the wilderness and the solitary place, we got another lesson. That's another lesson within itself. I'm just going here for something else. But keep reading.
Strengthen ye the weak hands, and confirm the feeble knees. Say to them that are of a fearful heart, be strong, fear not. Behold, your God will come with vengeance, even with a recompense. He will come and save you. Then the eyes of the blind shall be opened, the ears of the deaf shall be unstopped. Then shall the lame man leap as a hart, and the tongue of the dumb sing. For in the wilderness shall waters break out, and streams in the desert.
Go ahead.
And the parched ground shall become a pool, and the thirsty land springs of water. In the habitation of dragons, where each lay, shall be grass with reeds and rushes.
So we see a desert is going to start blossoming. We got a lesson on this.
Right.
But verse 8, this is the one I want. Go ahead.
And an highway shall be there, and a way, it shall be called the way of holiness. The unclean shall not pass over it, but it shall be for those. The wayfaring men, though fools, shall not err therein.
So this highway, which is called the way of holiness, ain't no unclean person going to be there. Ain't going to even make it. And this ain't no physical uncleanness. We talking up here. If you messed up here, you ain't getting on that highway. Guaranteed, because this is what the book say. Go to Isaiah 52. Isaiah 52, one verse. Isaiah 52, verse 1. Because this is going to be a beautiful day for those that have some understanding. 52 and 1, read it.
Awake, awake, put on thy strength, O Zion. Put on thy beautiful garments, O Jerusalem, the holy city. For henceforth there shall no more come into thee the uncircumcised and the unclean.
So awake, awake, put on thy strength, O Zion, put on thy beautiful garments, O Jerusalem, the holy city. For from this time, from henceforth, there shall no more come into thee the uncircumcised and the unclean. It's going to be a done deal for y'all, partner. But let's go to Matthew 15. Matthew 15. Because ain't no crazy people going to be in Jerusalem. Not at this time. That's why we got to get this thing right now. Because time is short. You don't know when your time is up, because Jesus said your time is always. So we need to get ourselves together right now. Matthew 15, verse 10, read it.
And he called the multitude, and said unto them, Hear and understand. Not that which goeth into the mouth defileth a man, but that which cometh out of the mouth, this defileth a man.
So understand, not that which goes into the mouth defileth a man, but what comes out of your mouth. That's what messes you up. And whatever comes out of your mouth, you have to think first. And if you got foolish thoughts in your mind, you're going to start talking crazy. And talking crazy is just showing us that you a basket case. If you keep your mouth shut, the Lord still know what you're thinking. You can talk about anybody in your head without even opening up your mouth. Crazy thoughts. Some people are bold with they'll talk about you to your face with no problem. Others who want to be slick or lay in the cut and don't say nothing, but just be talking about you, looking at you. But anyway, skip down to verse 16 and read it.
And Jesus said, Are ye also yet without understanding? Do not ye yet understand that whatsoever entereth in at the mouth goeth into the belly, and is cast out into the draught? But those things which proceed out of the mouth come forth from the heart, and they defile the man. For out of the heart proceed evil thoughts, murders, adulteries, fornications, thefts, false witnesses, blasphemies. These are the things which defile a man. But to eat with unwashed hands defileth not a man.
And that's what it was all about, eating with unwashed hands. But the main thing he was trying to tell you is watch your thinking. Check your mind. Because it was said, what did he say? It was said of old, if you just look on a woman, you had to commit the act before you got the punishment. Mm-hmm. Now you all got to do is think about it. If you look in lust, you done messed up already. Check your mind. It's unclean. It's right up here. Go to Hebrews 9. And I got two more places. Hebrews 9. Hebrews 9. And verse 13. 13. Hebrews 9 and 13. Okay, read it.
For if the blood of bulls and of goats, and the ashes of an heifer, sprinkling the unclean, sanctified to the purifying of the flesh.
So the blood of bulls and goats, and the sprinkling of the ashes of a heifer on the unclean made you clean. Okay, we're going to read that. Verse 14, read it.
How much more shall the blood of Christ, who through the eternal Spirit offered himself without spot to God, purge your conscience from dead works to serve the living God?
So how much more than the blood of Christ? And that's what we have to do now. We can't take it. We have to take it to the high priest now. Once you come through out of your issue, or whatever it is, whatever you're going through, you take it to the Lord. Because we can't do the high priest stuff no more. I mean, the turtle doves and the animal sacrifice, none of that. That's why you still unclean. You take it to the Lord and hopefully have mercy on you to cleanse you. But you don't know. So you still unclean. So you just take it to the Lord, put yourself under his blood instead of the purifying of the water, because we can't do that now. That's why we are still unclean on the physical aspect. So you take it to the Lord spiritually, and hopefully he will cleanse you physically, if it's his will. But if you don't take it to him, you're just walking around crazy. So once you come off of your cycle, or whoever it is, you're sick, pray to the Lord, 7 days, boom, 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 8, boom. Do what you got to do. But you got to take it to the Lord. Otherwise, you're still unclean, which is you unclean anyway. So we just talking roundabout. But y'all know what I'm talking about. Numbers 19. Numbers 19. And let's pick it up at verse 1. Let's look at these purifying waters from the ashes of the heifer. Numbers 19, verse 1. Read it.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, unto Aaron, saying, This is the ordinance of the law, which the Lord hath commanded, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, that they bring thee a red heifer without spot, wherein is no blemish, and upon which never came yoke. And ye shall give her unto Eleazar the priest, that he may bring her forth without the camp. And one shall slay her before his face. And Eleazar the priest shall take her blood with his finger, and sprinkle of her blood directly before the tabernacle of the congregation 7 times. And one shall burn the heifer in his sight. Her skin, her flesh, her blood, and her dung shall he burn. And the priest shall take cedar wood and hyssop and scarlet, and cast it into the midst of the burning of the heifer. Then the priest shall wash his clothes, and he shall bathe his flesh in water, and afterward he shall come into the camp, and the priest shall be unclean until the even. And he that burneth her shall wash his clothes in water, and bathe his flesh in water, and shall be unclean until the even. And the man that is clean shall gather up the ashes of the heifer, and lay them up without the camp in a clean place, and shall be kept for the congregation of the children of Israel for a water of separation. It is a purification for sin.
Go ahead.
And he that gathereth the ashes of the heifer shall wash his clothes, and shall be unclean unto the even. And it shall be unto the children of Israel, and unto the stranger that sojourneth among them, for a statute forever.
So this water purification was for everybody.
Yes, sir.
Okay? For everybody. Verse 17, read it.
And for an unclean person, they shall take of the ashes of the burnt heifer of purification for sin, and running water shall be put thereto in a vessel. And a clean person shall take hyssop, and dip it in the water, and sprinkle it upon the tent, and upon all the vessels, and upon the persons that were there, and upon him that touched a bone, or a slain one, or one slain, or one dead, or a grave. And the clean person shall sprinkle upon the unclean on the 3rd day, and on the 7th day. And on the 7th day he shall purify himself, and wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and shall be clean at even. But the man that shall be unclean, and shall not purify himself, that soul shall be cut off from among the congregation, because he hath defiled the sanctuary of the Lord. The water of separation hath not been sprinkled upon him. He is unclean.
So this is dealing with when you defiled by a dead body, which we have all been. And if you have not had the waters of separation poured upon you, you are still unclean. Keep reading.
21. And it shall be a perpetual statute unto them, that he that sprinkleth the water of separation shall wash his clothes, and he that toucheth the water of separation shall be unclean until even. And whatsoever the unclean person toucheth shall be unclean, and the soul that toucheth it shall be unclean until even.
So let's go to the last place, Isaiah 52. And that was the waters of separation when you were defiled by a dead body. So we know from the very first script that the earth is defiled because they've broken all the laws of God. And the inhabitants are defiled. And the ones who are trying to do this thing right are defiled because everybody else is defiled. So we are all defiled. So whatever issues you may have, staying away from here ain't doing you no good. It ain't doing you no good, because if you're going to do it, then you do it right. You stay away another 7 days and do the sacrifice. But we can't do that. But enough of that. We could be talking unclean circles all day. Isaiah 52, last place, verse 11. Isaiah 52 and verse 11. Okay, read it.
Depart ye, go ye out from thence. Touch no unclean thing. Go ye out of the midst of her. Be ye clean that bear the vessels of the Lord.
And I hope you got some understanding in Jesus' name.